CJ, get in yet?
Enjoy the music. We'll be back with you guys in a second. To the 13 people in here, man. If you're in here right now, leave a comment, leave a thought. You know, the news right now is that JJ positive, man, and heal each other in the Bear Nation. And we're gonna have a therapy session, man, and we're gonna vent a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about some you have no idea what's really coming. I mean, you coming off of just your confidence and your bravado and your ability to talk to people. All that's cool and good, but at the same time, that don't mean you're gonna
take away from what the offensive coordinator wants to do.
right.
In Ben Johnson's case, he's the offensive coordinator and the head coach. So, as a head coach, you make the decision, we're going to go for a 4th and 5. But we're at hour 40. So, if we don't get it, the team, Detroit or whoever, is going to have a short field. Now, my belief and my trust in my defensive coordinator comes to the front. So, if I don't trust my defense and my defensive coordinator, me going for it on 4th and 5 is going to have to be a little bit more logical.
Right.
Things are going to have to kind of change, and you're going to have to get a little bit more trust. And I think, well, I hope he would know that Dennis Allen has a lot of work to do too, knowing he's got young corners and he's got a front four that's not getting to the quarterback. So going for it on 4th and 5, even though that's your makeup and your DNA, but you have to mature as the head coach. Offensive coordinator can go for it on 4th and 5 because he's not getting questioned at the podium on Sundays. But guess who's getting questioned at the podium? The head coach. So head coach Ben Johnson has to answer for a 4th and 5 call when your defense is not getting any stops. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the defense, man, and everything that's going on wrong with this defense is just, man, it's like a snowball that keeps snowballing. Like, I want to make it worth it. Even though we're losing right now, I would never want to put up something on any content to where it's just something to do. So I'm trying to get great guests, trying to have great topics, just trying to have fun with this, man. So here's another good show. It's going to be a smoke fest, man. So with that being said, we appreciate everybody that's pulled up tonight so far. And we're going to get Aaron's thoughts, man, on the last 2 weeks of the Chicago Bears season, these first 2 weeks, man. So the floor is yours, big dog. Take your time, man.
Oh, man. Where do I even start? Because, good Lord. Listen, I get from the perspective that, the Bears, they have a new head coach. They have a new system that they're trying to implement right now. And there are going to be definitely some growing pains when it comes to it. We saw that a little bit in training camp, especially with you, Guy, who, saw that at the Family Fest as well. Like, bad interception, things like that, that, you expect to, come out hot when it comes to the beginning of the season with this like new offensive mind, this new system. But we expect there was going to be growing pains and it's going to take some time for sure. However, there is a side of these two games that, we saw that in the beginning where it was really good against the Vikings and then it fell apart. In the Detroit game, things just fell apart straight out of the gate. We couldn't stop them from anything. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown was cooking Tyreek Stevenson so hard. Like it was like
look,
as if he wasn't even there.
Fried hard, man. 10-piece fried hard with lemon pepper is what Tyreek Stevenson was this Sunday, man. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like, man, it was an embarrassing front from the defense, and it also exacerbated this whole like conundrum of a defense due to the fact that JJ went down. With apparently it's not a groin injury. Apparently it's not related to that, but they're doing some investigation on it. And I'm like, okay, then if you did the investigation, if you're doing the investigation, then how are you sure that he's going to be out for the entire season? You know what I mean? Maybe that's just me not knowing what goes on in there. But then again, the defense was a main issue, and it's been an issue for the last couple of years now when it comes to generating a pass rush. And the addition of Montez Sweat was supposed to be kind of important for this defense in order to get to the quarterback. That's the main point. And with Dennis Allen, he utilizes a lot of blitz as well. And the thing is, we were just not able to generate any pressure on Jared Goff. Jared Goff had a fantastic game from a perspective of, 5 passing touchdowns, like 300 plus yards. Like he was cooking this defense. Like, man, it was really hard. It was a really tough watch because the defense would make stops here and there, but it wasn't enough to stop an offense like the Detroit Lions, who has a running game, a really solid running game with Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs, having good wide receiver depth. And the thing is, the one thing I feel like Bears fans, including me at the time of watching that game, kind of failed to realize or like take into account is that these players have had chemistry for quite some time now. Like they've known that. And while we do say that Ben Johnson will have an effect on this offense, but the chemistry will still be like relatively maintained, to say the least. And that's something that we saw yesterday. And going to, the defense not able to generate pressure with Montez Sweat or Dio or anyone like that. It was genuinely frustrating to watch. The only bright side I would say is the offense, and that itself is also, marred with a ton of penalties, pre-snap penalties, holding penalties, just undisciplined levels of, play when it comes to an offensive standpoint. How are you going to generate momentum at all in a game if you can't, have any manageable like yardage towards the first down? That's just a key thing. And I think Ben Johnson genuinely was, if you saw like on the the TV. Like you saw like Ben on the sideline extremely frustrated with the Caleb interception because that was a bad interception, and B, like all these penalties, like the fact that we saw like 2 3rd and 30s in a game or 2nd and 30s in a game, like we saw that's like what we did last year at this point. And that cannot be a winning recipe going forward, especially with like 15 games left in the season. Like that cannot slide whatsoever. And this is the last point. I'm not going to ramble on a little too longer, but I'm just saying, like, from a perspective of if you're trying to, say like, yes, we have some growing pains, going into the season, that should be the first thing that should be fixed, is getting more disciplined on the offensive line standpoint, getting rid of these penalties, these unnecessary penalties that can kill momentum and drive. Because Caleb, can only do so much when it comes to an offense, getting it rolling, especially when it comes to, playing with tempo. Like playing with tempo requires the offense know their stuff. The offensive line knows how to shift, and when it comes to the play call, and with penalties like that and undisciplined plays, it's just not going to work, and it's just going to throw off every kind of cadence, every kind of tempo that you're trying to build when it comes to putting the defense on edge. And that's something Ben has to figure out. That's something, that's going to come with time. But it does suck that we lost to 2 division opponents, which you have to take some kind of something into account when it comes to that, because these are 2 tough matchups to start right out of the gate. Genuinely tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's about it. I mean, I'm open the floor to the rest of you guys. But yeah, that's kind of my concerns and my quote unquote rant, if you want to call it.
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's what we brought you in here for. Before I start off, just to piggyback on some of the things you said, we got Craig in here saying, yo, guys. We got Craig that says Poles has 4 top 10 picks, 7 second-round picks, and a ton of cap space for 3 years. He still fails to make any good move. We'll come back to that one. Minus Rome, he can't draft worth the crap as far as I'm concerned, and we don't use the guys we draft. He said, I agree with what most of you said. My man Caleb is playing undisciplined plays as well, and his accuracy is way too up and down, in my opinion. Yeah, that's so many good quotes right here from our guy Craig, who's been a follower for us on Facebook for a long time. But to hit on one of your points you said about the division, all those teams we've played in this division so far are loaded with a great offensive line, a defensive line, a quarterback, or at least a coach that knows how to coach a quarterback up. You know what I mean? So we're going against teams that's already been established for years, or systems has been established for years. So it's not really a surprise that we lost the game. It's how we're losing these games. And when you break down how you're losing these games, you're going up against teams that are better than you in the trenches. This is something that people continue to talk about Ryan Poles for years, bro. Like, just for years, bro. Like, you suck at building up the trenches. You cannot win a football game in the trenches if you don't have the trenches established. We're getting waxed, bro. Like, Montez gets no pressure. Diaz gets no pressure. What is Billings doing? Grady Jarrett? None of these guys are getting any pressure because the offensive lines we're going against are playoff teams. They're playoff teams. So when you play a playoff team, most of the time they're a complete team. Detroit, they went to the playoffs last year. The Vikings went to the playoffs last year with Sam Darnold. Here come the Bears with the cool head coach, because he looks mean and he sounds tough and he says all this cool shit. But when you get down to playing football, it doesn't look as good as it's supposed to look. None of it is matching right now. You know what I mean? None of this shit is matching. And not Ben Johnson, but Ryan Poles has a ton to do with that. You know what I mean? It's just unfortunate that the fans continue to suffer and continue to watch a bad product year in and year out. So, Alan, you can take it from there, man. But look at this, Alan. Look. 4 top 10 picks, 7 second-round picks. It don't get no realer than this, man. Tons of cap space for 3 years. Come on, Alan, man. Like, this right here is pretty much what you was wanting to talk about today anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan Poles, he has really shit the bed. When it came to getting the blue chip talent, he had a chance to do it, but he squandered a lot of picks by trading. I still kick Ryan Poles for trading for Bates, Ryan Bates. Like, you gave up a 5th round pick for a guy that was gonna get cut. Like, those are the things that we're doing. Like, we're just giving away draft capital for guys that's not even gonna make the roster their own. Like, I think we gave up a 6th round draft pick for a guy 1 year, and he was getting ready to get cut. I think I might be thinking about Pace, but anyway. But I know the Bears have had a bad track record of giving up draft picks for guys who about to get cut. And Ryan Bates was about to get cut by the Bills, and we just took him. And for a 5th round pick, in which 5th round picks can start football games. I mean, we seen Tom Brady be the best quarterback of all time, and he was a pick 196. So draft capital late in the draft is also vital for a rebuild. And it seems like we've been in a rebuild for 4 years since he's been here. So it's time for Ryan to, I think personally, he needs to focus more on letting other guys make picks. Give some of the floor to Jeff King. Give some of the floor to Ian Cunningham, and step back and be more of an administrator. I think Ryan Poles is a hell of an administrator. As far as getting the money right, getting the cap right, dealing with agents, he's top notch. But when you got to get in the trenches and get a guy, get a blue chip talent. If Ben Johnson was arguing with me with Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren, I would have said, I'm getting Tyler Warren. Look at what Tyler Warren is doing in Indianapolis. Tyler Warren is looking really good in Indianapolis. But Colston he's got 3 targets in our first 2 games. Like, so Ben, if you fought for him that hard, then damn it, get him involved in offense. Like, these are the things that we can't have. We can't have 2 guys that's not on the same page. And I feel like Ryan and Ben in that draft room, they wasn't on the same page, because we had Will Johnson from Michigan starting for the Arizona Cardinals at corner. We need a corner. We need a corner in the draft. But we wait to the 5th round to get a guy that wasn't going to play this year anyway. So that's another pick that we might potentially lose. Like, go ahead and load up on blue chip guys, man. You know, you pick Shamar Turner, 2nd round pick. He's a healthy scratch. Karan Aragaji, healthy scratch. Ozzie Trapilio, healthy scratch. Like, what's going on here? I mean, 2nd and 3rd rounders, healthy scratches in year 1 and 2. Like, this has got to stop, Ryan. This has to stop. We cannot continue to build a roster like this.
Man, we finally got the 4th person on the show, man. We're just gonna wait on the turn on his camera whenever he's ready, man. But we're gonna let him introduce himself, man. If you guys don't know who Swift Sports Network is right here, man, you really are not a Bears fan. You really haven't been paying attention to this man's work. From his analytical work, from his camera work, to his tweets, to his content. The man is strictly about football. He's great at breaking down the game, putting things out there, man. His content looks great. His editing is great. His producing is great. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my friend, my guy from Swifty. What's going on,
man? What's up? Man, it's good to be here. I was about to change my name to Healthy Scratch, listening to Alan. Those facts, man. But G-Walk, SoBack Sports, you guys were spitting some facts too. I've been listening for about the last 10 minutes. I was running late. I was getting good. And it took longer than I thought. But the trenches, you guys were hitting on the trenches, man. That's Ryan Poles' biggest failure. And honestly, he just hasn't put enough draft capital into the trenches. I will say this about him in the draft picks, though. I think you have to also blame Ben Johnson for this year's draft. When you're looking at a guy like Colston Loveland, you have to trust your head coach. If you're going to be married with Ben Johnson, metaphorically, over the next
Yeah.
4 years, they're going to be together. If he's telling you Colston Loveland is the guy he needs for his offense, and that's who he wants with a top 10 pick. If you take Tyler Warren, that's how GMs and head coaches get in fights and end up breaking up. And so you have to trust your head coach there. Now it becomes on Ben Johnson though to come through with the impact. Show us the player you said you were going to get. You're the guy who was a former tight end coach. You developed Sam Laporta. You traded away TJ Hawkinson. You should know more than Ryan Poles does about tight ends. So if I know tight ends sometimes take some time to develop, and I'll be honest, guys, anybody who watched me, I was live for the draft. I do a lot of pre-draft coverage. I did not think we were and I've been dead on with the Bears the last 2 years. I called Darnell Wright multiple weeks before the draft. I think everybody knew we were taking Caleb, but I was also dialed in on Rome Odunze or Jared Verse. Those are the guys I wanted. We got Rome. But this year, Colston was not on the radar, man. So this is a guy we have to get impact from these players. We have to get impact from all of our high draft picks. We can't have guys inactive second-round picks. We can't have the other thing is like Poles has a lot of misses. Everybody knows that. They're all talking about Poles misses. But it's the hits just aren't producing enough. They're not making enough of an impact. There's guys that we all like. Guys like Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, Javon Dexter, Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams, Darnell Wright. Even when these guys have good games, Darnell Wright had a couple false starts. Rome Odunze dropped a couple passes. Caleb threw an interception and took 4 sacks. Like, these guys have to be bigger impact players. And I know you guys were down a little bit on the late round picks, but late round picks in the NFL, every team has hits. It's really the issue the Bears have had the last 25 plus years is hitting in round 1 and 2. And I've agreed with a lot of Ryan Poles picks in rounds 1 and 2, but right now Tyreek Stevenson looks bad. Shamar Turner hasn't even made a debut yet. Ozzie Trapillo he should be out there because Braxton is playing like ass. So, I mean, right now, Luther Burden's not a part of the offense. Colston Loveland's not a part of the offense. Caleb hasn't taken a step yet. Rome looks like he's taken a step, but he still drops a couple passes. But we need more from these guys. It's plain and simple. And to me, it's just on the coaches right now to get more out of those guys. The GM brings in the talent, and then it's up to the coaches to put that talent in a position to succeed and get the most out of them on Sundays. And we know we've had bad coaching, but I think we all expected a little bit more from Ben Johnson. It's obviously too early to write him off, but you got to have a bad taste in your mouth after 2 games for sure.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alan, because we're gonna get some Q&A going with you, Swifty, man. We appreciate you pulling up, man, and bringing your expertise and everything that you've seen. It's just Ben Johnson, like I was saying in the show earlier, that he came with a lot of bravado. He came with a lot of macho. He came with a lot of nonsense. He came with a lot of, no block, no rock. These guys out here doing the best they can, and it's not getting to the point to where we're seeing the fruit bear good other fruit. You know what I mean, Alan? So can you just speak on anything that Swifty pretty much said, man, especially about the draft picks, and they're just not hitting enough, man. Like he's been, and Swifty, I want to show you this one comment, dog. Look at this. I want you to see this before Alan goes. Look. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw it. You showed that right before I came on. Yeah. I mean, those are the picks I'm talking about, man. I don't think it's those guys need to produce. I mean, when you have picks and you're building through the draft, that's the one thing that Poles has done that the other GMs didn't do. And that's why I've stuck up for Poles most of the time, because we haven't had those high selections. In the past, we traded away first-round picks. We traded away 2 of them for Jay Cutler. We traded picks all the time to move up in the draft for guys who ended up being busts. We traded up even for Mitch Trubisky, took him over Patrick Mahomes. We traded an extra first-round pick to move up and take Justin Fields. All of our previous GMs have thrown away first-round picks, thrown away second-round picks, taking guys like Shea McClellan, Kevin White. Like, there's just so many busts, man, that it's just these guys that we have. I don't believe Caleb Williams a bust. I don't believe Darnell Wright's a bust. I don't believe Rome Odunze is a bust. But they haven't done enough, plain and simple. When you have that many top picks, those guys have to make bigger impacts, and right now they're just not. So it's hard to be optimistic, but I do expect these guys to continue getting better, and I expect Ben Johnson to get more out of him. I don't think he's going to lose the locker room like Eberflus did. I think these guys respect Ben Johnson. He's won in the NFL, and he's been through a lot of tough losses before. All good teams get smacked even, but bad teams get smacked even more. It's how we respond over these next 3 games that really matters to me.
Yeah. We got Craig St. Jones is a chump. As G. Walker would say, mashed potatoes. Yeah, soft mashed potatoes with gravy on them, man. But Alan, go ahead and speak your thoughts about this, because it's Alan's pretty idea for the show tonight, man. So, Alan, go ahead, man.
Yeah, what's up, Swifty?
What's up, my man? Good to see you, my man.
Hey, look, now, hey, this is what I wanted to ask you about the draft. You did mention about how the GM brings in the talent. The head coach is the one who prepares the meal. So, with that being said, I think Ben Johnson can and will resurrect the offense. I think the offense is going to catch up and I think they're going to be solid by the end of the year. But like I was telling G, the defensive side of the football got off to a quicker start because it typically happens in the summertime. But what I'm hurting on and what I'm disturbed about is the depth of the defense. We got a lot of depth that got destroyed by injuries, of course, but it was a lot of things in the draft that I felt like we left a lot of players on the board when we wanted to go get wants. And we drafted like we had a confidence like we had a playoff team.
That's a good way to say
like,
it. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, we don't want to draft Torrey Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not in a position to have luxury picks. Yeah. We need to draft. I always say you draft for need in your later rounds and you get best available in your second or third. And your first round pick, you always get the best player on the board if you can on your first pick. Now, I believe in my heart if the lineman from Texas, the left tackle was on the board, that I think went to the Saints. I think Ryan would have drafted him. I think they would have drafted Banks. But I really think, man, Ryan's got to do a better job hitting those second and third round picks and stay away from luxury picks. And this year we had 3 second round picks. I feel like you got one that's not playing. Like right now, we need to play young guys. We need to develop guys right now. This is where I believe coaching comes in, and you should not have these guys on the bench. Like I feel like you should be having sets and plays, even for linemen, if it ain't nothing but punt protection or field goal protection. Let these guys take hits during the game and let them feel involved instead of sitting around there in a damn Chicago Bear jumpsuit.
Right. And Ambrose, I just want to get your opinion on some of these comments and YouTube, Swifty, man, since we got people in here. If you guys in here real nice, Swifty's in here. If you got questions for Swifty, man, please put your questions down. We're going to try to get those answered for you. We got Craig said Ben needs to be chewed. Also, the uses of Burton and Loveland's borderline insane. He is a very smart guy. He can dial up plays for them. So why aren't we? So, Ambrose, I'm going to give you this one, man. I'm going to let you lead off with this one, man. What you got?
Yeah, that's a very fair point because I actually, funny enough, just pulled up like Sam Laporta's time in Detroit, and I'm taking a look at his stats and how utilized he was used. So in the first game of it, like his debut, it says that he had 5 receptions for 39 yards, which is, I think, yeah, it should be more than Colston Loveland even had at this point, right? Am I
all season? Right? Yeah, he's got 3 catches, and he was he was a second round pick. Laporta was not a top 10 guy, so
exactly right. And the thing is, like, I've seen right now, at least based on the stats, that he's been utilized quite a bit, and he started as well. So that's the big question when it comes to yesterday. Like, I remember Loveland was open at one point down the seam, but it ended up being an interception on that play. So that alone was like, okay, fine. that should have been on Caleb to either throw the ball out or see Colston Loveland right there, which is fine. It's whatever. But at the same time, like, I think from the perspective for Ben Johnson, I think he also realizes that utilization of the tight ends has been sore front right now when it comes, or sore subject when it comes to this offense, and that's the thing about that's so peculiar, at least, like, is that for someone like Ben and how creative he is when it comes to his play calling, I really haven't seen the creativity of the play calling. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen, yes, there is some bits and pieces where wide receivers are getting open. It's very good concepts and route concepts and whatnot. But there was nothing like that we saw in Detroit. And I'm not saying that it won't ramp up to that level down the line, like with the lateral passes and the ladder plays and whatnot. But I think with more creativity on the offensive front, with the direct snaps and whatnot, that those were effective. Like, if you saw some creativity when it comes to the offense, like, you see that teams tend to jump, or teams tend to like overcommit, and you get wide open, and then you're able to get good yardage on that play. Like, take the first touchdown to Rome Odunze. Like, it seems like a very simple concept, but the fact of the matter is, like, Rome just got really wide open because it was the two safeties down way at the bottom were focusing on that seam route, but no one was focusing on that middle route. So good coaches will find a way to get their wide receivers open and scheme in a way that can get the wide receivers open. And that's what I think Ben Johnson should do when it comes to Colston Loveland. And I think with the addition of Colston, it can unlock this offense way more than it already is right now.
Hold on. And I want to say this, the CNG podcast just walked in here. CJ, how you doing, man? Good to have you.
I'm doing all right. How you guys doing?
We got J2K saying good evening, man. We got a lot of comments coming in right now. But you know what? Everybody's talking about Ben Johnson. And I don't know, man. I think a lot of it has a lot to do with this man right here. Now, we're going to have start having some honest conversations about his play. Just his play. And I want to know, because me personally, I don't think he's seeing the field or the offense all the time. I just don't think I'm not saying he's bad, but I don't think Caleb is seeing the field properly. I think he's going with who's ever getting open the most. I think he's learning. He got to get so much chemistry down with Rome Odunze. He got to get so much chemistry down with Colston Loveland. Like, this stuff is going to take time. And I've seen plays where Colston Loveland was open, but Caleb went throwing the ball. So I just want to ask, Alan, man, like, what are your really thoughts? Because we can say it's Ben Johnson all the time. Like I said before, Ben Johnson, he can simplify this offense as much as he wants to. He can cook the dope down as much as he wants to. But at the end of the day, it's on the quarterback. It's on the quarterback to understand what we're doing. You can't simplify the offense no more than what it's probably being simplified from. Like, you can't get over that. So I just want to get you guys' opinion to ask you guys how much responsibility on the offense in his first 2 weeks that is on Caleb Williams, CJ. Then we're going to go around the being. Just keep the answers kind of short and quick, and then we'll just try to get everybody. Go ahead, CJ.
Hey, G, repeat that question one more time. Sorry.
How much responsibility are you giving Caleb Williams and accountability for this offense sputtering the way that it is, outside of Ben Johnson play calling?
Oh, you definitely have to give Caleb 100% ability because he's the leader. He's the quarterback of the offense. So you definitely got to put it all on him. He has to execute the plays like he's supposed to, hit his open receivers like he's supposed to, run the offense like a gentleman. So yeah, you got to put it all on him.
Yeah, same thing to you, Swifty. What's your thoughts, man? Because to me, it seems like he's just learning the offense. He's getting comfortable with God. I don't think Caleb was bad at all. He had one bad interception, Sunday, and it was bad, but he played a good game. Rome had a couple of drops, but everybody, we can't get the whole cake sometimes. Sometimes we got to just get what we can and see where it goes. What you think about Caleb so far?
Man, when you compare Caleb's stats to any QB in Bears history through their first 17, 18 games, he's going to demolish them, man. And Caleb has been not the biggest problem. Has he been perfect? Has he been generational? Has he been everything he was built up to be? No. But he's been pretty damn good and better
Yeah.
than anything we're used to at quarterback. So I think we need to give him a little bit of time, especially considering he's had 3 different offensive play callers in the last 10 games. In his last 15 games, before the interception on Sunday, he had only thrown 2 interceptions in his last 15 games. Now he
Right.
needs to operate on time more within the structure of the offense. He needs to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. He needs to trust the pocket when it holds up. But when it comes to has he learned this entire offense yet? No, it takes a couple of years. All quarterbacks will tell you to learn a real offense, it takes some time. Right now, everything is still pretty vanilla, and Ben Johnson will continue adding more and more wrinkles as we go forward. But in order to do that, I think what a lot of people don't realize and why we have to give him a little bit of time here is you have to set a foundation. In order to trick teams and catch them off guard, you have to have something that you do well and you can get them to expect you're going to do. And then you switch it up and catch them off guard. And that's how you continue doing things that, like he said, some of these concepts look really simple. And right now they are. There's a lot of simple concepts. But when you run those really well and you get teams to start preparing for those simple concepts, then you can switch it off. You add another wrinkle and you can add to it and add to it and add to it. So it's gonna get better over time. I think Ben Johnson right now is just trying to really establish the culture, teach these guys how to win, because there's a lot of players on this team that haven't won a lot of football games in the NFL. That's something they got to learn to do. Monday night against the Vikings, we should have won that game, but this team struggled to put them away, and we let that team win. And that's kind of Bears history. So as fans, it's like it feels like old times because that's what we've always done. We've always let teams come back. But I think Ben Johnson is going to fix that. We got to give him a little bit of time. I think by hopefully this early bye week, week 5, we can go into that at 2-2, at least 1-3. Please, no way we can be 0-4, man. Oh man, that'd just be awful. We got to get a couple wins before the bye week. And then we have a couple teams after the bye week, even the Commanders. I think they're a bit overrated. I think Jaden Daniels is going to come back down to earth a little bit this year. And then after that, you got the Saints, who I think are one of the worst teams in the league. So we have a chance to get right here. I know it's bad right now at 0-2, but if we're looking at 0-4 or 0-6, then it's going to be time to panic. Then it's going to be time to make some major changes. I think some small changes could be made. Braxton Jones could end up getting benched. I think we're going to eventually see Shamar Turner in this defensive line rotation as well. But hopefully things can get back on track going forward.
Yeah, well said about Swifty, man. But we got a couple of questions. We got JTK saying first half has been decent to good. Second half has been a disaster because Caleb has been down by several scores. So yeah. Then we got J2K. So I've noticed that Ben has been calling plays to get guys open this night and day from last year. The defense has held us back because we can't maintain the lead. Aaron, I'm going to go to you. I'm going to get your opinion on Caleb Williams. We got Shaw Sports from the South Side saying 2 years running, he supposedly got everything he should need. He hasn't been what the evaluation claimed.
Well, you got to stop that one though, man. Not 2 years. This is 2 games into his second year, and he's had 3 different head coaches, 3 different offensive coordinators. It takes continuity to win in the NFL. Team, I know people are looking at the Packers like, oh, the Packers are an example of what we should be doing, or the Lions are an example of what we should be doing. How many years were Jared Goff and Jordan Love in the NFL before they won anything? Jordan Love still hasn't won a playoff game.
Right.
What, year 6? Come on, man. Caleb's played 18 games.
18 games.
Not 2 years. He hasn't played 2 years yet. Come on now.
All right.
2 games in a new offense.
Right. He said, I think we got a melon smasher. He's been hearing a lot. He said the whole depth chart is a shit Sunday, and Caleb is the cherry on top. I disagree with that. We got said Dennis Allen hasn't been good for a while. Bryce Young was the QB the dog walked in the week 9. Yeah, man. I don't know. So you said throw the defense out as cooked. If you don't score 30 plus points on offense, you're not winning the game. Yeah, I agree. If the defense is cooked and you don't have a pass rush, you don't have your corners, you don't have JJ, you don't have Kyler Gordon, you don't have Sweat getting pressure. You don't have Dayo getting pressure. They guys are just doing whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's free lunch out there on the Chicago Bears right now in the defensive end. But Amherst, man, just what are your thoughts on Caleb Williams these first 2 games, man? You know, I've gave him some grace. You know, it's a week-to-week thing, man. Like Chip Swifty was saying, this is his 18th game. This is his 3rd offensive coordinator, his 2nd head coach. So he's going through a lot of changes, man. I've even said myself, Amherst, that he's going through SAT PTSD. I think he was starting to see things that weren't there. And I knew he was going to play a way better game this week coming up because I think his feet were going to get calmer. I think his progressions, he was going through his progression, but he wasn't throwing the ball a lot like he's supposed to. I just think once he gets comfortable knowing that, because I think he's only averaging like 3 to 4 sacks a game. You know, that's not great, but it's better than probably was last year. And I think the more comfortable he gets with his feet set and knows what the offense is coming, I think Caleb Williams will play a better game week to week. But Amber, just what are your thoughts on Caleb Williams so far the first 2 weeks, man?
I mean, you kind of nailed a lot of the points. I mean, I think, you know, I have to agree with Swift as well when it comes to, you know, give it time. Like, I think we're jumping the gun a little bit on Caleb Williams. I think, if anything, he was the bright spot of this entire team. Like, I get it. He didn't play to, like, a generational level or anything like that to, you know, tip your hat off to. But at the same time, like, you got to keep in mind the context of the game. At that point, you were down by a ton of points. Like, the defense wasn't helping you. The offense was stalling out due to penalties. So, like, as a young quarterback going into year 2 with a new head coach and a new system to learn, like, what else can you really do besides, you know, deal with what you have right in front of you? And to kind of, like, go a little bit into, like, the coaching as well real quick, let's take a look at it. I saw a tweet recently, and it literally stated that coaches who started their careers 0-2, and there's a lot of names on there right now, and like from Kyle Shanahan, Dan Campbell, Ron Rivera, a former Bear, who else? Mike Ditka, also a former Bear head coach, like, and Mike McCarthy, Bill Walsh, Jimmy Johnson from the Cowboys, like Andy Reid as well. Like, they're like, I think right now, yeah, like, it sucks that, you know, Caleb has to be a part of the 0-2 at this point of the season. It's like, oh, we're continuing to lose again. But at the same time, like, the real development process is taking place. Like, remember what Ben Johnson said in this opening press conference: get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right.
And I think right now we are at that spot right now, because this is a truly uncomfortable time. Last year, it was kind of expected with the 10-game skid. Like, it was comfortable at that point. The comfortability factor was set to, all right, we're tanking this year, or all right, we're not going to win that much right now. At that point, we just get Caleb as much reps as possible with whatever staff we have going out there week to week, and that's just what we have to see. We have to see that play out right now. I get it. There's a lot to be mad about, but for Caleb Williams, I think he did, for what it's worth, like, he at least has a touchdown in the first 2 games of the season. So that's a big step up of an improvement from last year. He already has 3 and a rushing touchdown. So that's got to mean something now, right? Like, that's my thing. I think he's okay. He's going to be fine. And it just will take time for him to kind of understand Ben Johnson's offense.
Yeah, man. Alan, you got anything you want to speak on about Caleb before we get into the Jalen Johnson part of this, and then we can start wrapping it up?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I think Caleb will be fine. Dan Orlovsky said it best. It'll be 2 to 3 years and Caleb in this offense. The West Coast offense is a tricky offense, and it demands stability. So I think Caleb will be fine. He just got to clean up his footwork. We talked about that yesterday. It's just little things he got to clean up, his accuracy. I think a lot of it too, like G say, it's a little bit of the traumatic experiences from last year dealing with the sacks. But other than that, I think Caleb's gonna be fine. And we just gotta put him in a nice incubator and keep him growing, and he'll be fine.
Yeah. And we got Melon Smasher saying Montez don't break a sweat. That's funny. He ended the 2023 last 3 games with 0 sacks, 5.5 sacks in 16 games, 2024, 0 sacks in 2 games. Man, one thing we did last year, score on the first drive. Caleb has done that twice so far. That is true. Then we got shot on sports. Says we as observers are only responsible for the data we have. If 18 games isn't enough to critique, then how could we get a generational after 22 college starts? Swifty, my guy. I want all. I want all. He smoked. I want all the smoke. Pole position. Hey, Swifty, he trying. Hey, we got Sean trying. He want all the smoke from you, big dog.
Hey, I'm always down to talk football, bro.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep it moving, man, with the Jalen Johnson situation, man. It's just been unfortunate, man, the way that this situation with him has really pretty much happened with him, man. I got my own thoughts about Jalen Johnson to the point to where I don't know, man. Like, just my points, and we're gonna go around, man. Jalen Johnson comes off as a person to me who's good but not great. Man, like Jalen Johnson is a top 3 corner. I have my own issues about him going on the podcast. I'm not really going to get into that too much, but I will say Jalen Johnson his add up isn't very good, man. He's getting hurt now. He's asking for more money. He missed the whole preseason. He missed the training camp. He missed 1 game. Then he got hurt the next game he was available. I don't know, man. Like Alan's been saying, he's been around 3 coaches now. The add up for him actually being a part of this team in the long run, I don't really see it happening. I don't see it happening, man. So we're gonna start off with CJ, man. We're just gonna get your thoughts on this because he's out for the season. And I'm gonna say this about Jalen Johnson. I think that Jalen Johnson, I don't think he was truthful with the organization as far as his health. I don't think he was truthful because based off what he's pretty much said to us about him wanting more money and everything like that, I think he forced himself onto the field and he wasn't ready. We can sit here and say the training staff, we can sit here and say the coaching staff, we can say all that shit, man. We can say all of that. But if you look how Jalen Johnson has been presenting himself before he got hurt, he was going to find his way onto that field just because he wants to get paid more, even though he signed a deal last season. I think it's unfortunate. And I think he rushed himself back because the player knows his body better than anybody else. He knew he was fucking not 100%. Jalen Johnson knew. I think he went out there trying to prove a point, and it ended up hurting the team. To me, it's my personal opinion. You guys don't have to agree with it. I think it was a selfish thing to do because you missed the whole preseason, offseason. Then you go on the podcast and say he popped his abductor out. What the fuck was that? Come on, man. Then you come on and then you know you were not 100% and you hurt the team even more by coming on. Like it's just unfortunate, man. So I'm gonna pass it around, CJ. I'm gonna get your thoughts about Jalen Johnson, man, and then I'm gonna get to the comments. And we're just gonna go ahead. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, I think Jalen definitely pushed himself to go out there knowing that he was hurt. You know, it could have been for money, for anything like that. So we can definitely say that. But I think Jalen Johnson is going to be – he's at the time where, every time in a player's career they hit that injury phase. They could be out for a lot of games for a season. And I think Jalen Johnson is hitting that phase. So the Bears got to be careful how they deal with him, how they handle him going from here on out. You don't wish players to get injured all the time.
Right.
Especially a good player like Jalen Johnson. But it seems like every player hits that injury phase. I'm thinking Jalen Johnson is hitting that phase right now. We're going to have a good player that's going to be injured, for a season, for a lot of games. That could be Jalen Johnson right now. So the Bears got to look at this carefully. And I think for the Bears, if you don't have a lot of DBs, you got to start getting some. You got to start getting some because Jalen Johnson is probably at that phase of his career where you're going to start seeing him getting more hurt. I'm sorry to say that, but it could be true.
Yeah, and I agree with you, man. I think he's becoming – it's just too recent of an injury history. You know what I mean? So, Swifty, man, just what are your thoughts, man, about this Jalen Johnson situation? And I know I said I think he rushed back. I just think it was a selfish. I knew he wasn't ready, man. I just knew he missed too much time, and that injury had to heal, man. So, just what are your thoughts on Jalen Johnson going forward about anything, bro? Like, he's a good player, but three coaches, man. So, just what's your thoughts, big dog?
Man, Jalen. I mean, you can't really blame him for trying to rush back. Every player in the NFL, when they get hurt and there's games that they're missing, when the training staff clears them and the medical staff clear them and they come back to practice, they're going to play if they can. Honestly, I thought we played it safe with him by not allowing him to play last week against Justin Jefferson. So I think when guys get hurt, sometimes that just happens, man. It's a part of the game. But I don't think he lied to the coaching staff, because what a lot of fans didn't know is he was at Hallis Hall rehabbing for 6 weeks before training camp after he got hurt. So he's there working with the trainers. He's there every day. He's not out on practice field, but he was there. He was there working, and it was something that happened while he was training. It's not like he was partying or, doing something crazy. JJ takes his job very seriously, and to me, he's one of the best corners in football when healthy. You just need more guys around him. We need more guys like JJ. But he's a part of this team going forward. I think with his contract and his status on this team, you want him to step up and be a leader. But if he's out the rest of the season, it is a bad break for this defense. It's real bad.
Yeah, well said.
Tyreek has been awful. And speaking of guys who need to make an impact, man, oh, man.
Yeah. He said, G-Walk, extraordinary claims, extraordinary evidence. I'm saying you're wrong, but I need more insight to agree. Yeah, man, I don't know, man, because I've been around my son, man. He plays sports, man. And I've been around guys when I coach basketball. I've been around guys in sports. And I damn near had to tell them, you cannot fucking play, bro. They will do anything and say anything to get on the court or the field, bro. So that's just my personal experience, man. And I know how very competitive a lot of these guys are with other motives. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, just my perspective. I don't know if he was being completely right. Now, if he got hurt, he got hurt. But I don't know, man. I think the organization did him. They said he cleared him, but I don't know, man. That's a tough situation to go into, man. But Alan, what's your thoughts, man, on JJ, man, before we get up out of here?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to see JJ go through this. I kind of see what everybody's saying. But Jalen knows Jalen, and football is football. And when you're playing the top corner, you're chasing across the formation. That takes a lot of energy, a lot of exertion. And, playing in Eberflus style of play was a lot of zone. And Dennis Allen is going to play a whole lot more man. So that means that's going to be a little bit more in chase position. But Jalen, I'm going to say it now. I think Jalen might have played his last season. I think they're going to move on from Jalen this year. I don't think going forward he's going to be on the team, because 3 coaching staffs and this injury, I think this is going to be the end of the relationship. I think Jalen deserves to be on the winner. I wish it would be Chicago, but I think Chicago needs a break too from Jalen. So I think it'll be a mutual agreement, a mutual standing, because the Bears just gave him a lot of money up front when they reworked that deal. So the next team don't have to absorb a lot of his contract. So that's another little bit about that contract extension, that reworking of the contract. So I think Jalen's going to come back, but next year, I don't think he's going to be a Bear. I think the Bears are going to move on, go in another direction. And Jalen will probably get traded somewhere, probably to West Coast, where he's from. I think Ryan's good about doing that trade, and he's got a good relationship with the agents to get him somewhere else. So I think it'll be a mutual split, and I think he deserves to be on the winner.
Man, well said. Well said. So back sports, Amrit, man. Just what's your thoughts on Jalen Johnson, man? It sucks that he's out indefinitely. Me as a fan, I'm just feeling a certain way because we need him, and this defense is pretty much not going to be nowhere near as good as he is. The way he could cover a whole side of the field, But I just think he knows his body, man, and I'm not going to change. I'm not changing on that, man. I just think that they pushed him too hard, and it just sucks. But what's your thoughts on Jalen Johnson? Is he a bear down the road, the injury, what?
I mean, it's really hard to say, especially after 2 games, but at the same time, he is out indefinitely. So that really does put a wrench in a lot of the plans for the Chicago Bears going forward. My biggest concern, and this is for the team specifically, is that Jalen was the biggest leader when it comes to the defensive side of the football. So without him, now who's going to be the next leader for the secondary? Because it's damn sure ain't well going to be Tyreek Stevenson. I'll be absolutely real with that. But I think that's the thing, because Jalen was such not only a good player, but also he was a very vocal leader within the locker room, a very good big presence. And if Jalen leaves, that's the second big piece that Ryan Poles traded away from the Brian Pace era with, remember Roquan Smith, we gave to the Ravens for a 2nd and a 5th. So the thing is, if we're going to trade him, I think, we want to do it right by him, but at the same time, we still need to get some good value of it. And that's a good point that Alan brought up when it comes to the upfront money, and that can eventually lead to, potential trade suitors. That's a really good point. I didn't really think of that. I feel like there is a good chance that he could not be a Bear depending on how the season plays out. It's say the Bears find a way to figure this all out, and defensively someone rises up to the occasion. I think that changes the tune of Jalen Johnson, because if Jalen leaves and the team kind of stinks going forward when it comes to the defensive side, there really isn't a future there for him at that moment, because he'll ask for more money, and it will be a big risk for an organization like the Chicago Bears, who are trying to find that defensive identity, to pay him again. And they would be more willing to move off of him and get some compensation for him. And it really it sucks. I really didn't expect to have this conversation week 2 at this point.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we none of us did.
Yeah, that's the situation that we're in. I'm really hoping that this isn't too insane of an injury. I know it's out and definitely has to do with surgery and stuff like that, but I hope he comes back next year, or he's good to go next year and he's back at 100%. But we still don't know exactly the extent of his injury at this point. At least I don't know the extent of his injury. But yeah, I'm just disappointed. But I just think
Jordan Schultz reported that he's gonna have surgery and he's out for a long time. The ACC basically said, it was about a couple hours ago, he said he can only come back if we're still in the playoff hunt, at the end of the year, but he's out for the majority of the season, it sounds like.
Dang.
Yeah,
I mean,
we got J2K saying this. I'm nervous. This is a bad injury. Yeah. Then we got J2K said, wow, when Poles got here, he had to rebuild the secondary, and 4 years later, he has to rebuild it again. Kyler Gordon is, then he got off the prize. JJ will have any interest until he plays again. That's like how he got to be healthy. I mean, he had to be healthy to get the new money he wanted to get. He had to be healthy now, and he's going to have to be healthy later. So it is what it is. You got to be healthy in order to get paid, man. It's just unfortunate, man. I don't see JJ being here in the future. I think they're going to start over and get rid of him. You know what I mean? It is what it is. He's not moving the needle as far as helping us win games. That's how I would see it if I was a GM. You're bringing back a player who's hurt. He's going to ask some money right away, because you got to think it's going to be another year. He's going to heal. He's going to come back. Then he's going to want more money. So then it's do you really trust him now even more to be healthy to pay him? Then you play Russian roulette, because he might get hurt again with a very, very serious injury. If I'm the GM, if I'm Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson, I'll be looking elsewhere, man. It's unfortunate, But at the same time, it is what it is. You know, he's going to try to get the most money he possibly can. And the Bears should be looking at the situation where you get the most productivity out of a player from that position as they can going forward. So I agree with everybody's take. Allen, I agree with Amaranth, I agree with Swifty, everybody's take. But my personal take is I just can't see him being here any longer than what they're going to allow him to be here. You know what I mean? So with that being said, we're going to pretty much wrap this up, man. We're going to get our final thoughts on some stuff real quick.
I'll just say real quick, let me just say, he's under contract for 2 more years, and it's going to be tough to trade him if he's out for the rest of the year because you don't want to give him up.
Right.
Teams will have to want to know he's healthy. And even then, if he misses a whole year, who's going to give a high pick for him, you know? A guy coming off an entire year missed, you know? That's tough. I think it's going to be hard to trade him. I think the guy, you look for someone who want to trade right now because we're not going to get better if we trade JJ. He's the one player in our secondary that's actually really good when healthy. Right now, the guy I'd look to trade, DJ Moore, man. Because what do we need on this offense right now? We need to involve Luther Burden and Colston Loveland more, our top 2 picks. What would open the door for that and open up $20+ million in cap space? Trading DJ Moore, and he's not hurt. So that's the guy I watch out for. As much as I like DJ, you got to watch for that.
Yeah, that's just another good point, man. And that's been something that's been going on Twitter, on my Twitter too, as far as like DJ Moore and his value, and because it's looking like, you know, where was he at, Swifty, during the game? Where was he at? Where was he?
I mean, he had that real big catch early in the first drive. He like reached up and snagged it. It was an awesome catch. But after that, I think Caleb has proven. After 2 games, I think we've already seen the evolution of Rome Odunze, and he's Caleb's favorite target. Their chemistry and their friendship, I think that's something to not ignore. So the fact that with Rome ascending, and then you have Colston Loveland, who Ben Johnson has to love. You got Luther Burden. You got Olamide Zaccheaus, who can fill in at the slot. You could even re-sign him for a couple more years. Probably not that much money. So at that point, if you could get a 2nd-round pick, or imagine this, if the Giants would give you Kayvon Thibodeau at some sort, and they get another target for their young quarterback, Jackson Dart, over there. So they already got Malik Neighbors, but other than that, they got a bunch of question marks. So if you could swing something like that, I'd do it. I'd do it all day.
Yeah, so just what's your thoughts on just the chemistry with him and Caleb and DJ Moore, man? Because we saw the chemistry with Keenan Allen. You know what I mean? Like Keenan Allen and Caleb, they were pretty tight. Rome and Caleb,
I honestly feel like DJ he always was a little mad that we traded Justin, because anyone who goes back, they were the #1 quarterback receiver duo in the league that year. They only played 13 games together. In those 13 games, DJ put up just under 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns. They had the #1 QB to wide receiver rating per PFF, better than like Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. So DJ was happy with Justin. And then you bring in Caleb Williams. DJ got another contract extension to keep him happy, right? But last year he watched Caleb and Rome had this friendship, right? Those 2 guys were like best buddies. And then who's the receiver that got the most targets on the field? Keenan Allen. So what was DJ in this, man? DJ wasn't the old vet. That was Keenan Allen. He was the old vet who was like mentoring him. And then Rome was the best friend and the guy building chemistry. And DJ went from being pretty much the only guy we had. He was the guy, you know, to all of a sudden he's playing 2nd, 3rd fiddle. So I think DJ's a little bit slighted. He might feel left out a little bit, but I do think DJ's motivated. He's a great player, but that's why, since we have so many other weapons and options, if you can get value for DJ, as much as I love him, he's one of my favorite receivers we've had in a while. We also we need targets for Luther Burden and Colston Loveland as well. So almost, if you can get a pass rusher or an offensive lineman or a high draft pick, I'm sorry, DJ, I love you, man, but
hey, it is what it is. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up right now, man. We're just gonna we're gonna get everybody's final thoughts real quick. We're gonna get Amber's final thoughts, man. Get Alan, CJ, then we're gonna get up out of here, man. So, just what are your final thoughts, Amber, on anything, man, and tell the people where they can pretty much find you at, bro.
Final thoughts. You know, give it time. The offense will start to click more. I think, you know, we got to give time for Dennis Allen and his defense, even though nothing is really shown for it. I think with more time and more chemistry starts to build, I think maybe we could find something down the line. So yeah, I think it's just all about time. Caleb, I'm not out on him whatsoever. It's way too early to be out on him in the first place. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, on to facing Dallas at Soldier Field. Oh, and you can find me at YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at Soback Sports.
All right. See you later, big dog. We appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
I appreciate it. Nice,
man, it's nothing. Then we got the big dog, man, Swifty, man, one of my favorite people to follow, listen to. Look at his takes, his content, man. He's very, very, very specific on everything. There's no holes in his ship. I'll put it like that. So when you come across Swifty, man, you better make sure you got everything buttoned up tight, because he gonna give it right back to you, man. He knows ball, man. So Swifty, tell the people where they can find you at, big dog. We can get up out of here, bro.
Man, Swift Sports Network on YouTube, at Swifty Network on Twitter. Man, I just try to give it how it is, man. I'm not ever trying to paint narratives, never trying to BS. I am always trying to look at the optimistic side, but I feel like there's too many people out there that are always going after every little negative about a guy, you know. So I do try to stay a little more optimistic. I do think this franchise is in a better place than it's been in the last 15 or 20 years. And yes, we need more impact from our draft picks. We need to start winning games. Everyone needs to do better. But the process they're doing right now, taking players in the top 10, building this team through the draft, and not going crazy in free agency, that's how you build a winner in the NFL. Now, so far, we haven't seen it on the football field, but I do believe in the process. But Ryan Poles, his picks need to be better. He needs to be held accountable as well. Caleb Williams needs to be better. All these guys need to be better. But I do believe Ben Johnson will get more out of these guys. It takes more than 2 games, you know. It's going to take, it might take more than a year. It might be next year until we're really, really good. But I do believe this team is going to be really, really good going forward. But just like you guys, I expected more the first 2 weeks. So we're disappointed, or hopefully we can turn it around going forward. Got a couple winnable games coming up.
Yeah, man, I'm very optimistic. So CJ, before we get up out of here, man, what's your final thoughts, bro?
I mean, we just got to be patient with this team. You got to think about this is everybody's first time under Ben Johnson being coach. So it may not go the way we want it to go sometimes, but that's just the way it is. You know, so we're going to have to be patient with Caleb. We're going to have to be patient with some of the other players on the team. You know, as far as DJ, I'm looking at him probably not being here possibly after next year. You know, I can definitely see the Bears trading him because you got all these weapons on the team that you wouldn't give a chance to get reps, you know, too. You know, so definitely I think the Bears, the future for the Bears is looking up. You know, as far as getting talent on this team moving forward and being put in a better situation. So we just gotta be patient as fans. You know, because this is the first year under the Ben Johnson regime. So we just gotta be patient.
Alan, your turn, man. And I'm gonna wrap it up and go last real quick.
Yeah, I agree with y'all, you know, being patient. But I've been patient since 85. You know,
say, man, I was like,
hey, man, I've been patient since 85. So I'm gonna be all right, man. But you know, I just feel like, man, we gotta stay centered and keep pouring concrete, like the great Warren Sapp say. Keep pouring concrete, and we'll be all right, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I want Dennis Allen to really adjust his coaching, because I know he's a great defensive coordinator, but he's gonna have to adjust. I know he wants to do man, but he's gonna have to break it down and do a little bit of zone, because remember, guys, we drafted a lot of guys that are equipped for zone. So we still have a lot of them on the roster. So we have to kind of manage that. Tyree Stevenson is not a man coverage guy. He's a zone guy. So we just got to be patient, man, with the process, like Swifty said, and we'll be fine. So next week we got Dallas, and I believe it's going to be a shootout. So I'm just hoping, man, that, you know, we play some good football and manage the clock. 4th and 5, we'll stay away from that, coach. Let's go ahead and punt it, keep these guys pinned deep, make them work the field.
Yeah, we know we're not going to stop them on defense, so we just need a turnover. You know, we need another one of those kick sixes. Or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely do, because that will throw you a couple of sausage and cheese pieces out there. He'll throw some sandwiches in the air. He'll give you a couple, man. We just gotta catch him, bro. We just gotta catch him. But shout out to everybody that's came in here. With J2K came with the comments, man. He said he's been straight up patient for a long time. Then Don Burt says golf is nothing without Ben Johnson. Yeah, I know that's sarcasm right there. It's cool, bro.
Don Bird, man. Don Bird being sarcastic.
He being sarcastic. Then we got him and Shaw came through, man. J2K, Marcus. He's saying Deion Sun is available and cheap. That is true. Shout out to J2K again. We had Melon Smasher. We had Craig come through, man. Appreciate Craig. And then we had our guy Cream Sleeve at the beginning of the show. He's cooking some pasta, man. Hey, Frank's revealed on the CNG podcast, Cream Sleeve. Whenever you're ready, bro, you just come on, man, and shoot me the DM, man, and meet Swifty and Alan and get up in here, man, and we'll announce it. Shout out to Celeste. He reposted the stream saying, "What's up, Bears Nation?" Just my final thoughts is this, man. Like, things are going to take time. We got to be a little more patient. The defense, I ain't going to lie, is scaring the hell out of me going forward. Like, I don't see – because you can see things getting better with Caleb week to week. You can see Caleb getting better with his receivers and Rome Odunze. You see Rome Odunze being that wide receiver that's physical. We can play bully ball with him. He's tall. He got a big catch radius. You can see the offensive line kind of being solid, you know, man, outside of Braxton Jones. But it hasn't been all bad on the offense. And the crazy part, I'd expected the offense to struggle a little bit less than more than the defense. But the defense is scaring me. But we do got Dallas. I think Caleb can come through and destroy that zone defense that Eberflus plays. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm happy about seeing Caleb get better and better each week. He has 3 touchdowns to 1 interception. So I'm looking for him to continue to protect the football and get more touchdowns. And I'm looking forward to seeing if Ben Johnson will implement more things as far as getting Cole Kmet in the offense involved more. Hopefully we see Luther Burden get a little bit more involved in the offense. But that's just my thoughts on final thoughts, man. It says it's Cream theme. C.A. Joe Carm. I don't know who Cream Sleeve is, bro.
He's not Carm. He's not Carm. Kill that rumor. It's not Carm.
Definitely not.
It's Ryan Poles, man. But with that being said, a shout out to Swifty Sports Network coming in here, man. This is one of my favorite people, man. He's been locked in with me since I've hit him up, and we've been working together as much as we can when we can. We all men. We got things to do. So shout out to Swifty coming through. Shout out to Soulback Sports for coming through. This was great. Shout out to everybody that pulled up. There will not be a pregame show next week, ladies and gentlemen. I put this on my page. I said, look, man, as much as I love this, I will not be wasting none of the people I respect time. That's Bears Nation. Until they win, there will be a post game. Only a post game if they win. I don't like to pop up here and just do shows to do shows, man. It's a lot of editing. It's a lot of visual stuff. It's a lot of networking. It's a lot of people I got to get in contact with. It's a lot of stuff that we do to bring you guys a great show. So I'm not the type of person that's just going to be hopping up here every week, wasting my favorite people's time, man. So if we win Sunday, there will be a post game, but there will not be a pregame show going forward until these guys prove that they can win, because we're going to keep talking about the same shit all the time. And that's something that I definitely don't want to do, and start talking more loser ball. So with that being said, follow Swifties, follow Soulback Sports, follow CNG Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, X, or whatever, and YouTube. We out of here. Peace.
CJ, Allen, good stuff, my guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you coming on last minute, man. Like I say, Allen wanted to talk. Like I say, man, I'll be trying my best to make sure that we give people a really, really good something to watch. You know what I mean? Something to listen to besides just us coming up here. So it really mattered that you came through for us, man. It didn't matter if you was late or not, man. So we appreciate that, dog. Anybody else got anything to say to him, CJ or Allen?
Go ahead, see. I go after you, T.